7 away from 1. Peter Newbold is the GM of PGG Wrightson. And Peter, I guess the rural real estate market's somewhat in limbo at the moment, but we have to produce food, we have to carry on farming. So what's happening out there?
Yeah, look, I've got to be honest, Jamie, it's hard to sort of talk about it with everything going on, but I think it'd be fair to say, nothing has really changed in the last few weeks as far as, interest is mainly around sheep and beef. Seeing a little bit more activity in horticulture. Dairy is still subdued, but I think with everything that's going on at the moment, I think we'll probably see, some values being challenged, and, as we've often talked in the past, that whole yield story when it comes to rural. But when you look at, sheep prices, beef, dairy, you'd have to say, if we look out a little bit, the rural sector, you'd think, there's some good lights there. Well,
Peter, asset prices are being challenged right across the board, no matter what, whether it's equities or property or whatever. The interesting one for me is I think there could be renewed interest in the likes of dairy farming, because it seems to be one of the more resilient industries out there at the moment. And I'm not saying sheep and beef or horticulture aren't, but, it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, and if you look at it, we all need to eat. The world needs protein. We've got all those at our back door, and maybe it'd be nice to see. We might see the rural sector, in a stronger light after this.
Well, it's interesting. Here's a quote from you. Tell me what your mother said when you were speaking to her on the phone.
Yeah, I rang her last night, and she said it brought back memories of a time. She's English in the old air raid shelters in England, and she made a comment that, we all got through it. It was challenging times, but we worked together. And I thought, yeah, that's it was sort of, quite a realistic statement, and it made me think about things.
Sometimes major events like this, it brings out the worst in humanity. We've seen that with some of the fights in supermarkets, but it also brings out the best in people.
Yeah, and I think that, when we were up against the wall, I think as a country, and we sort of get together and we work through it. And I sort of sense when I speak to my people in the field and friends and family, I sort of sense that's taking place, which is fantastic.
Well, the show must go on, especially when it comes to farming, and our PGG Wrightson Property of the Week will tell you a bit more about this one on tomorrow's show. But this is nicely timed, Peter. It's in the Wairau Valley, and it's an off-the-grid lifestyle property. We're better to self-isolate.
Yeah, well, that's right. Let's hope we don't all have to do that, or if we do, it's not for a too long a period.
Well, it was interesting to hear Cameron Bagri say yesterday or the day before on The Country. He said if he could self-isolate and see and ride out the storm, he'd be on a farm somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's probably the safest place if you look at everything going on, and and we've got plenty of them.
Peter Newbold, thank you very much for your time. Our Property of the Week, go to our website, thecountry.co.nz, click on Rural Properties and have a look at our off-the-grid lifestyle property in Wairau Valley. We'll tell you a wee bit more about that tomorrow.